Greetings, citizens of the internet. Welcome to Tomorrow Daily. Hello, everybody. It's the best geek talk show in the known universe. We are here sharing the Gamespot live co-op stage here at E3 2016. I'm Ashley Sketha, by the way. Hello. I'm Ashley Sketha, and I have some very amazing people on the couch to introduce you to. You probably know them. My dear co-host, Jeff Kanata.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the show. A very special show live from E3, and we're joined by Tim Schafer.
Hello,
Tim Schafer?
What? See you.
What?
Hi. Thanks for having me. It's beautiful. It's lovely here.
Tim, we are slowly becoming one plaid being.
Yeah. All of E3 is becoming a plaid sea.
By the end of the show, you'll be merged into one plaid
topped
person.
with one big beard.
Perfect. Amazing. Nice. You guys have a lot of stuff going on. Double Fine has a lot of things going on. I got Headlander, but the thing I am most excited about, obviously, is Psychonauts in the rhombus of ruin, which I like to call Pit Roar. I don't know if you guys have done that.
That is a good anachronism. It's a good anachronism.
I think so. I think it works. So let's talk about it. I mean, Psychonauts 2, really big crowdfund. You guys, I'm a backer. I have to full disclosure.
Thank you for backing.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so now you have this sort of bridge between Psychonauts 1 and Psychonauts 2, and this is going to be the experience we're going to get to have on PlayStation VR.
Yeah, even though it's been 10 years since we shipped Psychonauts 1, the events, the Rhombus of Ruin, takes place like directly after that game ends, and then when Rhombus of Ruin ends, Psychonauts 2 will take off from there. So this, if you remember the end of Psychonauts.
I remember the end of Psychonauts when it said, please now put on your VR headset.
Yeah.
In 10 years.
In 10 years.
In 10 years.
Once they're invented, put on your headset. And so they, Rhus became a Psychonaut, but then immediately the grand head of the Psychonauts, Truman Zanotto, was kidnapped.
Terrible.
And it happened to be Rhus's girlfriend's father, too. And so they all jumped in this jet to go off to save him. And it was whoosh, and that was the end of the game. And then in Rhombus of Ruin, you see in that footage, you start in the jet. And you're strapped in your chair, but you have your psychic powers still. And so Rhus can pick up objects with his mind, levitate them, he can burn them, he can throw them. He can also use one of his powerful skills, clairvoyance, to see what someone else sees. So he can I can jump into your head, basically, and then see the world from your point of view.
You don't want to do that. It's terrifying.
I kind of do. And then you see someone else, you can jump into their head and move around an environment that way from brain to brain to brain.
I really enjoyed jumping into the squirrel's brain. That was really fun.
Yeah. Did you feel those little... Did you like the nut joke?
I did.
Yeah,
I
don't want to spoil it.
A good nut joke.
Yeah, there's a good nut joke waiting for everybody.
Yeah, we both played it, and I want to know just kind of what drew you to VR in the first place. I mean, it's a pretty exciting new technology. Are you sold on it?
Well, I think one of Double Fine's main things is we like to make worlds that just pull you in and make you feel like you just want to spend all day in this world and that you're really transported to another place. And VR just does a lot of that instantly. Like the second you put on the headset and you're there with the characters, and Rhus and Mia's talking to you, and it's like, wow, it's hard to explain until you put on the goggles that you can watch footage of it, but until you're in the space, you're like, I'm in the jet from the end of Psychonauts, and there's Mia and everybody. So it really just drops you in a world that we create really easily. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about seeing Mia in front of you is you've always seen those characters in 2 dimensions, but in a 3D space. But now she's there, and they're all so bizarrely shaped, but it feels so right. Like it was nice to see those old friends again. Like that's how I felt after I was done with Rhombus of Ruin. I was just like, man, I'm ready. Or after the demo, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm dying to play the rest.
Yeah, I'm done with it now. I don't want to play anymore.
I'm ready. So you're in the plane, you're strapped in, but then you mentioned it opens up. After you get out of the plane and stuff happens.
There's many other different locations, and they're a little bigger. The jet they're showing in this demo is kind of a tutorial of how to use your psychic powers.
It's a reminder. It's a reminder.
Yeah.
So,
but is it gonna work the same way as the demo in the sense that you're basically moving around by jumping from being to being?
Yeah, we wanted to use an interface that would let you move around, that made sense in the psychic world of the Psychonauts, but also didn't run the risk of making anyone feel like throwing up, because if anyone's going to throw, it's going to be me. I'm the first person to get sick in a VR environment. So you're a
good test subject.
I'm a good test subject, and this game is 100% you're not going to barf because you're only doing psychic stuff.
It's almost like a point and click in 3-dimensional virtual reality space.
It's a look and click, right?
It is. It has almost adventure game puzzles where you're picking up objects, using them in the right places, and you get to experiment a lot with Rhus's psychic powers. Side blasts coming out of your head and blowing things up, burning things, all the fun things that psychics like to do.
all the things that we enjoyed in the original Psychonauts. How does it feel this year coming to the show to be able to have that franchise back? One, I know it took a little while, and also to be able to kind of say like, hey, we're making that sequel, and I'm sure people have been stopping you and they're excited about it. Aside from me, of course, like stop you every time I see him, like, hey, thanks for Psychonauts.
There's you, and then there's that guy looked like you in a mustache.
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, okay. Right. No, it's one of those.
Mustachely Escueda?
Yeah, mustache. Get out.
It's a game that has a lot of affection out there for the game. I think the characters, the performances, but the actors just were very charming, and I think it really stuck with people, and it's been out for 10 years, and it's grown in popularity and digital release, and so there's a lot of people who were waiting for it, and then demoing at the PlayStation event, there was like half the people were like, oh, I can't wait to see this. I played the game 10 years ago. And some people were like, I don't really know what this is. Like, I have no idea. And that's exciting too, because someone who's never seen Psychonauts before, being able to play it and meet those characters the first time is also really cool. Yeah,
such a weird, like, quirky universe to experience, especially in VR, which I was a little scared that it wouldn't be the same. And then as soon as I levitated the toilet paper to the coach, I was just like, oh man, this is Psychonauts. It's happening. I'm playing it and I'm in it, and it feels so right. It feels so right.
You're in the weirdness, deep in the weirdness.
Does the fact that you are inside it open up puzzle possibilities for you or gameplay opportunities? I mean, are you able to hide something under something where you have to look under it?
I mean, one of the most fun things for me is like there's things you actually have to move your head to see, and like look into this little view thing, and those feel so different. I don't think that would be a big deal if you did it with a stick, but when you're doing it with your own head, it really makes you feel like it's a real object.
Yeah.
It's super
neat. I remember looking for pixels in, Secret of Monkey Island.
More fun than that.
Yeah.
But instead of like scrubbing your cursor over all the pixels, you're actually like bending over and looking under things. And
you get really terrible neck pains now instead of cursor.
Neck pain guaranteed.
Neck pain guaranteed when he's staring at everything. So we're gonna generally wrap things up. But one more question about Psychonauts 2. Can you just tell everybody the entire plot of the game right now?
Rhus is a robot.
What?
And an alien.
A robot alien?
Well, it's still preliminary, but we're probably working on it. They're probably not going to go with that plot line, but it takes the events right after you rescue Truman Donato and you go back to Psychonauts headquarters. And Rhus has always dreamed of being a real Psychonaut. Now he's really in Psychonaut headquarters, not at a summer camp anymore, and he gets to go on real international espionage missions. So
excellent.
It's a real deal.
And now you've got Zach McClendon.
Zach McClendon, the lead designer on Bioshock 2.
Bioshock 2. Like, amazing. You guys make great games. I'm really excited to see this. Thank you so much for stopping by the stage.
Thanks for having me. Being in E3, just having a place to sit down on a nice couch.
That's really how we sell it.
I'm going to stay here for a long time.
That's how we get people to say yes, really. That's exactly how we do it.
chairs.
We have chairs. Guys,
water.
we got a couch. That's great.
Water.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Rhomus Ruin launch window for
it's
PSVR?
It's going to be around at the end of it's going to be this year.
In the end of the year-ish?
I didn't know officially what we're supposed to say.
We'll call the launch window the first 3 months. So yeah, let's say close to the end of the year. Good?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Everybody, please give your round of applause to Tim Schafer.
Yes.
Thank you so much. These are your loyal citizens. It's really great.
I'm really milking it now.
Yeah, that's good.
Also, you can check out Double Fine online. We are going to be coming right back with some developers from Destiny.
Indeed.
Talk about their next expansion, so stick around for that. Don't click away. It's Tomorrow Daily. Welcome back to the show, everybody. You are watching Tomorrow Daily live from the Gamespot Co-op Stage here at E3 2016. We are here. We're really excited. We just had Tim Schafer on the show.
Yep.
I'm Ashley Skeda. This is Jeff Kanata, my co-host.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here at E3. It's great. We have an awesome guest. David Dague is here. You probably know him as deeJ, the community manager for Destiny. You guys had a big announcement right before E3, the week before E3.
Indeed, yeah.
Of a new expansion called Rise of Iron, right?
Rise of Iron. It just sounds strong. Just sounds really strong.
Sounds regal. Well, that's the Destiny player fantasy. We want to make you feel like a badass. We want to turn you into a regal heraldic knight on a quest to protect all of humanity from the dangers that threaten us.
Of course,
But that's what we're here to talk about. Destiny Rise of Iron is a new expansion for Destiny. It's something we're going to unleash this fall on September 20th. All sorts of cool stuff to do, new enemies to fight, new places to explore, new weapons and armor to add to your character, new ways to become more powerful, new raid, new story, new strikes, new bad guys.
So let's talk about it. Tell me about the new raid. I think let's start at the top.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's start at endgame. Let's go right to endgame.
At the mountaintop and the summit, and then just roll down.
roll
Sure,
right down.
yeah.
And so the raid is, in the minds of many players of Destiny, sort of the pinnacle of the experience. You know, it's the end game. It's the culmination of the story. It's when you finally infiltrate that enemy stronghold and destroy the source of their power once and for all. It's the most challenging activities that we provide in Destiny. You need a fire team. You need 6 players who agree to work with each other, to communicate with each other, to see the experience through to the end. And
who all have sweet loots.
they all have sweet loot.
Gotta
Gotta
have
get
that
those
sweet
fat
loots.
loots. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go in, you got to be powerful. You want to bring
Yeah.
your best game. And the more you play the raid, the more we give you even more sweet loots. So people start to actually sort of bear the trophies of their enemy, you know, as things that they can wear and equip and shoot. We have a new enemy to fight in the form of a new house of Fallen. So we got the Fallen Devil Splicers. They've discovered a horrible technological plague. They burrowed deep into the Golden Age vaults, deep beneath old Russia, and unleashed this technological plague that they can use to transform their minds and their bodies and become machine gods. So we have to band together under the command of Lord Saladin.
Indeed.
The sole surviving Iron Lord is calling all of the Guardians to rally to his Iron Banner and to go out and fight these new bad guys. And there's some of that action right there.
Are those
You
space
two-
wolves? Is that a
Those are
space wolf?
Space- Man.
Earth wolves.
But they hang out in
Imported. They're
space.
imported wolves. Imported.
Those are Lord Saladin's wolves.
Okay.
Excellent. So
I'm going to go ahead and
ter-
call them space wolves.
Space wolves.
Everything is
they're in
space,
space
right?
now, so they're in space, so which makes them now space wolves.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about interacting with the community. I mean, Destiny has a really passionate fan base.
Indeed
A really
they do.
passionate
Yeah.
fan base. They love the game. They're really into it. I see memes about Destiny still. I mean, it's been almost, 2 years after launch? Like, it's been a while.
Yeah,
I
almost.
still see Destiny memes. People are still talking about it. In terms of developing expansions, how much does the development of an expansion rely on player feedback? Like, in terms of percentages, I mean, obviously development is, hey guys, like this is what we're doing. But when you go into the community, what kinds of feedback do you really take from the players?
All kinds of feedback. We have monitors mounted to the wall at Bungie, and we are watching people streaming gameplay from the world of our game all day long. So, you walk through the studio and you see different people playing different activities. We're always connected to the player with Destiny. It's always online. So we're connected to every single player. You don't need to be a streamer to get our attention or to influence our creative process. We have so many different data points we can rely on to make a great game and to bring new things to life, like the heroes and the adventures in Rise of Iron. We have the activities people that play, the weapons that they equip, the anecdotal feedback that comes from forums, the conversations, the things that people say about the game, the ways in which they want it to change, the ways in which they think it can be better. Then there is, our own gameplay. I mean, so many people at Bungie also play Destiny, so our own experiences shape this a lot too. We see the YouTube videos that they create, we celebrate fan-created content every day, every week at Bungie, they're the main characters in our world. And while the developers and the creators at Bungie do have their own sparks of inspiration, they have their own creative ideas, knowing your audience and being inspired by your audience is a huge part of that. And when we were creating Destiny, we were doing it very much in a vacuum. We had this new thing, new to us, it was a very ambitious project for Bungie. And we unleashed that onto the world and then began the process of getting acquainted with this new audience that was playing our game and letting them really inform us as to what that experience was. And then learning how we can better serve them as entertainers, because that's our goal.
Yeah, and what's, so just out of curiosity, what's the most, you got the monitors up on the walls there watching people play, what's the most unorthodox play style or choice that you've maybe seen a player decide to go for?
Sure, we've seen people do everything from play raids blindfolded taking their tactical cues from their opponents, like literally going in blind.
I can do that. I would last about 4
Challenge
seconds,
accepted.
but I could do it.
Right?
Jeff's like, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
He's
We've
in.
seen people play through player activities where they're forced to equip any loot that drops right at that moment, so the player experience is very different by the end of the game. We've seen people play hide and go seek. We've seen people, sort of have challenges to each other. It's like, I dare you, let's all go in and let's play this game together. I have some friends who actually go in and they equip an exotic sniper rifle that's very hard to use. They say, we're all going in, we're going to use nothing but no land beyond, and we're going to see who can score the most kills by the end of this Crucible match. So there's so many different ways to play the game. There's so many different options that you get to embrace as a player. What armor are you going to wear? What class are you going to play as? What weapons are you going to equip? So people can play Destiny in different ways over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, the most hardcore people in our community say, I have one of each. I have Hunter, Titan, Warlock, and I understand every perk set, every gear, every tactical advantage, and they just mix and match all that stuff together until they create their own personal ultimate badass.
That's amazing.
So we've heard that this might be the last paid expansion for Destiny 1. Is that true?
I can't confirm or deny anything about the future of Destiny other than the fact that
Rise of Iron is the future of Destiny.
September, the immediate future of Destiny is September 20th. And we have Rise of Iron. We're going to be sending you into a zone you've never explored before. The Plague Lands is where you'll find the fallen Devil Splicers. You are going to redeem the sacrifice that was made by the Iron Lords to contain that technological plague in the first place. We're going to honor their memory. We're going to ascend to their ranks. We're going to become powerful in some new and exciting ways. And we're going to save the world.
Can you tease some of those sweet loots for us? I know that Destiny has evolved so much since launch, and even the whole way the loot system works has been completely changed. And I think for the better. Having a specific piece that influences my play style and lets me break the rules in really fun ways is awesome. Yeah. Are there some notable things that you are revealing about Rise of Iron?
Well, we have new gear sets that will commemorate the different things that you've done. I think people have felt about Destiny in the past that the only way to become all-powerful in Destiny is to play the raid. That's really no longer the case. If you're a Crucible person, if you love the story, if you love patrolling the world and participating in public events, if you like the rituals that define the player experience, if you like the raids, there are many different ways to become powerful in Destiny. So all of that gear satisfies that desire to evolve and to become, the apex predator on your friends list. A lot of the new gear and a lot of the new armor you're going to find in Rise of Iron has some interesting new perk sets, some different ways to influence combat and change the sandbox and to change the way you fight. So there will be some new things for you to discover as a player, and that's part of the fun, is to get a new piece of gear, to put on that new helmet and say, this gives me something new, this enables me to do something I've never done before.
Right.
And
play
have some fun with that.
Play blindfolded, yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah. That's now my new goal.
The
is
helmet
play
of
some
infinite
games
blindness is what it's.
With the blast shield down, I can't even see.
Yeah, you don't need the blast shield.
You're like, we don't need that.
Find your feelings.
So what do you play as in Destiny?
I am a Warlock. This was an incredibly emotional decision. I'm not,
I love that you could describe it as emotional. It's so emotional for everybody.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
I saw wizard robes and I said, I want to be that guy. They're like, well, maybe you should play the game first and really understand.
No.
I'm like, no. I will adopt to a fighting style that complements those robes.
I will find a way.
Those
I will
robes
find a way.
inform me as to who I should be, yes.
No, and I love that about Destiny because I feel like, not that it's a loot-driven game, but obviously in any MMO where you are raiding and doing a lot of these sort of high-end endgame things, loot obviously plays a huge part of that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's such a cool thing about games like Destiny and Destiny itself, that you can look at somebody in a video or on a stream and you could say, well, I just want to be that guy. Like, what? I don't even care what class it is. I'll figure it out. I just want to wear that helmet or carry that gun or, wear those robes or whatever that is. Like, that's such a cool part of Destiny. And I always felt that the character design in Destiny is always so fun, but also, like you said, so badass. Like, you just feel cool and you want to look at pictures of you and take pictures of yourself and share them with your friends and everything. And I think that's really contributed to the way the community has grown.
Without a doubt. And we have art galleries up on Bungie.net, our headquarters on the internet, where every day we're posting new fan art. They upload that stuff, we approve it. So if you're making cool Destiny art, please throw it at us. Share it with us on our website. We even got around recently to deactivating the user interface and the heads-up display. So you can just get a nice, clean image of the world, take take your screenshots. I mean, what's a video game with amazing art if you can't take a selfie?
Well, now,
true.
Now I don't want to play blindfolded.
No,
you guys
no,
are giving me
wanna-
conflicting impulses here.
You fight blindfolded, and then you take your picture.
We'll leave that to the 1%ers. You definitely want to see the art, and that's one of the things we wanted to do is to really create a player fantasy. We think Destiny is a game that's driven by action but rewarded by loot. So it's supposed to be a game that's fun to play. You know, you see the world through the eyes of the hero. You know, you walk in the footsteps of the character that you create. But if you're brave and if you defeat your enemies and complete your missions, that gear, that weapon, those weapons and that armor really defines you and the things that you've enjoyed doing. So people can, at a glance, tell what someone's into. And I think one of the best and most meaningful questions in the Destiny community is from someone to say, "Where'd you get that?"
Yeah.
And now this person becomes an aspirational figure, and they can say,
Right.
I will take you along on this activity. Me and my clan need people like you to get stuff like this, so come with me, and we'll complete this experience for each other. Because that's the thing about Destiny, it's enjoyed with new people.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your favorite aspect of Rise of Iron? What is the most exciting new piece for you?
I love jumping on my Sparrow and exploring a place I've never been. We had a studio-wide playtest right on Friday. Everybody at Bungie puts down, what they're doing. They prop a new build of the game. We all play the game, so we understand what we're making. We understand what we need to do to make an experience worthy of our players between now and this fall. So you get to a point where you've completed a story mission, or there's no immediate threat. You jump aboard your personal vehicle and you just wander around. You see what's out there, and the Plaguelands is such an interesting place. It's forever transformed by this technological plague, this SIVA that I keep, hinting at and alluding to. And there's some interesting new ways to patrol. There's interesting public events. I mean, you never know what's going to happen when you're just out in the world of Destiny. What moments of action are going to erupt in that landscape, who you might encounter, who might team up with you for a moment of action that you need to work together to overcome, what sort of rewards you might get for doing that. So that's really the free-form aspects of the game are something that I enjoy. But at the same time, I mean, like with my clan, we play Crucible, we play the raids, we play the strikes, we play the story missions, we play all of the things that you'll find more of in Rise of Iron. So no matter what sort of player you are, no matter what every specific answer to that question is, we're giving them more of that in this expansion.
Well, it sounds pretty exciting,
Yeah,
and it's coming out this fall.
Yep, September 20th, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Destiny Rise of Iron.
Destiny Rise of Iron. Thank you so much. If you guys are just tuning in, you didn't catch us at the beginning, this is deeJ, Community Manager for Bungie and Destiny. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. We will be right back. We have the one and only Victor Lucas joining us on
Talking
stage.
about E3 in general. Don't touch that dial.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. You're watching Tomorrow Daily, which is a CNET show where we've hijacked the Gamespot Co-op Stage here at E3 2016.
They'll never know.
They'll never
Just
find
stay
out.
Here.
I'm Ashley Esqueda, hello, and my wonderful co-host Jeff Kanata is hanging out with me here on stage, and we have a very special guest.
It's my old boss.
Hello, my friend.
Vic Lucas is here.
So we have like 3 shows combined on the stage. We're actually, with all of yours, that's like 6 shows, right?
It's a lot.
Totally rad on here.
A lot going on.
90 shows, yeah.
So you have EPNTV.tv.
Yes.
And you're host and creator.
Yep.
So for you, E3 means what?
Well, you know what? I've been to all of them. This is
your 22nd E3.
22nd E3.
Wow.
And early on, when we were in sort of creating demos and pilots for Electric Playground in the very beginning of '95, this was Mecca back then. I knew that this was going to be the most important event for the video game industry.
It was in Atlanta then, right?
Yeah, the very first one. Oh no, the first one was in LA. We did 2 years in LA and then 2 years in Atlanta,
and then it came back
to LA. But so this has always been Mecca. This has always been like a very just important, I was going to say spiritual, but it's not spiritual. It's just an incredibly important trip for the entire community to come and get together and see all of this stuff and celebrate this business. And I feel it's incredibly important to continue to do that because the games industry needs to kind of show that this is a valuable art form on a consistent basis. And of course, that's been my whole career on television is to kind of put cameras in people's faces and really show off this art form.
Convince people that this is high art, just as you would say cinema is. And
Absolutely.
I think this year is a great testament to that. I mean, we've seen
Absolutely.
some really amazing games. Obviously, people lost their minds when we saw God of War come back, but looks very cinematic. You were talking about that earlier, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I think they took a franchise that, let's be honest, was pretty juvenile.
Yeah.
And they actually managed to make it grounded and substantial and have this nuanced story that's really about parenting and being an adult. It's pretty amazing.
I think just the way that Grand Theft Auto kind of transitioned us into a more mature kind of art, look at this art form and this medium and ways to tell stories. I think the same can be said for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I feel like the effects of The Last of Us we're going to continue to feel. But I have to say something about that Sony press conference. I've seen every press conference. So that Sony one was a very special one. And I think it was kind of reflected in a little bit of the Sean Layden remarks about the awful stuff that happened in Orlando right at the beginning.
Sure.
But there was a maturity and a confidence in the stories that were told just in those little visual snippets that I think were profound. And to think that people in theaters all over America, and I think some in Canada too, were able to watch that as a show was very important. And I feel like the business can learn a lot from that kind of presentation. Great games.
It was a very
100%.
mature presentation, and like you said, I think confidence was such a big part of that presentation.
Yeah.
They said, we don't need to bring anybody out, we don't need to do demos, we're not going to even talk about it. Like, even when Kojima came out, it was just like, here's what I've been working on. Hope you love it. Like, and everybody was just like, I don't know what crazy thing this is with Norman Reedus and the baby and the craziness and the, but we love it and we want to play it.
Just to have that much time on Reedus's face while he's holding the baby and he's crying, that was significant.
Very poignant.
That was a big deal.
You used the word, and the word that they used on stage was show.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't a press conference.
That's
they
right.
realized that this isn't a press conference, it really is a show.
Yeah.
They approached it like a theatrical event,
Totally.
having the live music there and being on that beautiful Shrine Auditorium stage.
With
and
the dual
making
LED
use of that.
screens. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see, moving forward, it becoming even more a presentation rather than a press conference.
As it should be. Like I just interviewed Sam Witwer, who's the star of Days Gone, and he's a face that gamers know from other games, and we should kind of put these pieces together, It was just announced before before E3 that Jon Snow is going to be the villain in Call of Duty, and not to say that we need to put celebrities in all of this, but there needs to be this kind of entertainment familiarity with these properties and the people behind them.
I think we've seen a little bit of that with Nolan North, and we see a little bit of that, but it hasn't reached quite the fever pitch I think that we see obviously in movies or television.
Well, and the other thing that I'd like to see is more, and what you guys are doing here, and I think it's amazing. I've never had a stage at E3. I've always, hustled my butt from one interview
one
to the
appointment
other.
to the next,
Yes. But I think that to like put the developers in the middle of a stage like this and to turn the cameras on them and make that a show as well is very important. And I applaud GameSpot for doing that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just a couple of years ago that the press conference was getting on stage and showing flow charts and bar graphs and saying we've sold X number of consoles, and it's really happened very quickly.
Yeah, and I've been fortunate enough to be in this business for a long time, and I've seen that evolution from it being a tech and product-based industry to a full-fledged, we understand this is an entertainment industry, and we need to
the biggest entertainment industry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's passed box office almost regularly now for how many years? Like a few years?
It has, but there's a bit of a misconception around that because of the price on games. I think that it hasn't affected as many lives as movies and television. Like not as many people, individuals, consume this stuff on a regular basis and know all the intricacies of this stuff. And that's what I've endeavored to do with my programming and what GameSpot has endeavored to do.
And you said you're hustling your butt around here.
Yeah.
So what have you seen on the show floor just in the first couple of days that has impressed you most?
Well, I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. I love that. And I love that Call of Duty went in that direction a few years ago. But now androids seem to be in Deus Ex and Detroit, and we've got Call of Duty robots.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to Detroit.
And Titanfall 2 is amazing. It's a big shooter year.
For sure.
We talked about that yesterday, the resurgence of FPS games. This is like a very big shooter year, and a lot of older franchises coming back, a lot of newer franchises entering the mix.
Yep.
It's pretty great.
but the fact that Nintendo has one game to play.
Yeah,
I think speaks volumes to the quality of that game.
I was gonna say, and what a game it is.
We all thought they were insane.
Yeah.
And then you walk into that booth and you're like, no.
Yeah.
They created a magical fantasy world for us to walk into.
Yeah, and you don't want to leave.
It's
No.
incredible.
And nothing can sort of shake it from your mind, right? You want to
Total shameless self-promotion, but if anybody wants to, we have a 360 video of on CNET's YouTube page. We have a 360 video. It's real short, and you can look around inside the Nintendo booth, which is pretty cool. So,
and it's worth looking into. I mean, it's so cacophonous here, and then you walk into that Nintendo booth, and you're in this.
Yeah.
You're in a Hyrule.
Yeah. That's the game too, right? I mean, there is a lot of killing and death, like there always is at E3. And then you go into Zelda, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's like Miyazaki meets Miyamoto kind of vibe. And it's you know, regardless of whatever your feelings are on Nintendo, this is something that everybody that likes this medium needs to see.
Aspires to. They should aspire to, right?
Yeah,
and it's. I love how they're willing to take a risk with such a storied franchise.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like, okay, we're all in on this, and it's a little crazy. Like it's not like any Zelda you've played before.
Yep.
But we think it works, and we're really excited about it, and we hope that you'll buy it alongside our new console next year.
It also sounds like, remember those like 80 hours you put into the last Zelda? That's a drop in the bucket as to what you might be having to put into this one.
Well, and I think that speaks to the relevance and the maturity of the Western RPGs.
Sure.
I mean, Final Fantasy 15 is a reflection of that as well.
Yeah.
The BioWares and Bethesdas of the world have just been making things that have shocked the business from a very staunch old guard. The JRPG scene was the way that we played RPGs, and that's really shifted. And now we have an open world kitchen sink experience with Final Fantasy 15 and an open world Zelda for the first time.
Yeah.
It's very
it's amazing.
Amazing.
And the thing about the Zelda thing too that I always find really remarkable too is I don't believe that it's the top selling of the Nintendo franchises. It always does well. But clearly, it is always the most expensive to make of the Nintendo franchises. And I applaud Nintendo for doing that because they don't have to.
Yeah.
But they do that, and
they don't compromise.
It's the prestige.
They don't compromise.
It's the prestige brand of Nintendo. It's like the prestige franchise,
and you feel it when you play that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played. There's 1,000 open world games on the show floor.
Yeah.
You play that one, and you go. There's a level of polish that's immediately palpable.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I'm asking everybody about VR.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's
let's
your
talk
feelings
about VR.
about VR? It's a big presence here.
I have to confess I have not really sunk in on the trade show floor.
Okay.
And it's mostly to do with my vanity, and I can't believe I'm revealing
you
that
don't want
here.
hair.
You're
you want,
afraid.
VR hair.
I don't want.
You don't want someone to take your VR face picture.
And
That's what it is.
Yes.
You don't want someone to go by with you like.
And so I actually told, and now it's out, thankfully. Like it's actually available. I know you're Captain VR.
I love it.
I'm sure you've been talking. Do you have a VR super suit underneath that?
I do indeed. I'll just rip it off at certain points.
We had him try on our show a Tesla suit that works with VR, where it actually shocked him.
It electrocutes you when you get shot.
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I told Oculus and VR, I was like, I want to come for your demos, but we've done so many demo stories.
Yeah.
And all of them are, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. And I said, look, we just got to start reviewing the stuff. And that will be our coverage. Because I feel like consumers really want to know.
Yeah.
And they're hearing it from you. You're like, buy.
I love it.
Which is great. But I feel like consumers really want the scoop. Is this stuff worth the investment? Is it worth the time? And what games are really worth playing? So I'm excited to be at home in my underwear playing my VR and then conveying how I feel about this stuff later.
So I'm curious about this because right now in VR we're seeing a lot of experiences, not full games.
Yes.
Resident Evil will be, I think, one of the bigger full games that we'll see in the next year or so.
Fallout next year.
Fallout. I mean, I'm really excited about those, but a lot of the stuff like Batman, Arkham VR, it's an experience, and it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
But it's an experience.
Yeah.
And do you think that is a thing that gamers should be excited about, or should they and maybe get into VR to try those things out and get experimental with it so that, like Jeff, they're sort of really familiarized with VR? Or is it something that it's like, well, maybe you should wait, and then when you come into it later, when full games start coming out in force, then you'll be able to sort of check out those other things?
I think this is an eternal challenge in this game industry, right? I think that we need to have those test them out kind of experiences like on the Wii. But we also need to see that there is a product that you cannot miss.
Right.
And I think that Oculus and Vive, as much as I have seen them, haven't really got that everybody needs this experience. You know, they need that story.
The storied console seller, right?
You know, you can define it down to, or boil it down to killer app, but I feel like the Scorpio now for Xbox One has a little bit of that same issue right now. They talked about something that I think every fan of video game, you know, culture wants, but we don't know why we want it yet.
Yeah.
And it comes down to boiling it down to
Well, we just hear
showing us
teraflops,
exactly.
Vic, and we just go crazy.
Yeah, well,
I
I
need
did
Six teraflops.
I went crazy for that.
I
but
know.
I still don't know why.
Yeah,
You know?
I gotta see why
And
first.
I think the VR is in that same dilemma. I think the Wii was in that dilemma. I think the DS was in that dilemma. Then the 3DS was in that dilemma.
Then the Wii U is in that dilemma.
And the Wii U. I think it's a cyclical thing. It's one of the big challenges of a tech-based entertainment thing, but
Solve
it's
for
also
why.
what makes the business so fun and exciting and
Sure.
scary and weird and, you know, just a perpetual thrill to
Yeah.
cover, you know?
Well, it's been awesome having you on, man.
my pleasure,
We
my
really
pleasure.
appreciate it. Tell people where you can find your stuff.
EPN.tv, where we're posting all kinds of stuff. And of course, like everybody else, we're testing a lot of content on Facebook right now on our Facebook page.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And then at Victor_Lucas, right?
At Victor_Lucas.
On
Yeah,
Twitter.
thank you.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Everybody give Vic nice round of applause.
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
We are going to be back. Well, we're done here for the week, but Jeff, you've got a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, we're going to be coming to you from this stage for more E3 coverage, so stick around.
He doesn't
Matt-
even know what show he's on. He
I don't
has
know.
no idea.
I'm not leaving this stage.
He lives here now.
I will not until everyone talks about VR.
Tomorrow Daily will be back next week at its regular time and place at our Burbank studio. You can go to tomorrowdaily.com if you want to see more of our show. It's about future tech, pop culture, video
Yeah.
games. We love it. And until then, be good humans. We'll see you guys. Bye.